Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Vanessa and you are watching the Exploring Oracle, or the Exploracle for short. Can you believe it's already October? So October is my favorite month. It's the month that I celebrate my birthday. And aside from my actual birthday, October is also I guess anniversary of when I started learning, or when I started getting serious about learning about tarot. So in October of 2021, I got my first tarot deck, and I strove to study and learn about tarot because it was a topic that really spoke to me, and I got really interested in it. And yeah, now a year later, I'm probably still at the beginner stage. I still consider myself as a beginner, as a learner, and I'm not really pressuring myself to be an expert or somebody who really masters the tarot, at least not at this point. I got into tarot, it was more of a self-discovery thing, and even if I don't get to spend that much time practicing or reading for myself and all that, I still feel that every little bit of practice helps. Even if I just pull a card a day, every little bit helps. And in time, I'll get to the point where I can be confident about the symbols, about the meanings of each cards, but I'm not there yet, but I will get there. But that being said, for October, I did want to try and change it up and really deep dive into a particular deck. And the reason for that is well, maybe also because of this channel, but I do have a lot of decks. I have more decks than I could conceivably use for myself, and that also means that I don't get to spend much time to learn about the deck in detail and or to really bond with it. And of course, I keep a lot of the decks that I show you, the ones that at least speak to me, and keep them and think that I'll bond with them or use them at a later time. But I get more and more decks. Sometimes those decks just stay in storage until such time that I feel I wouldn't be working with them. I will now be challenging myself that I will try and pick a deck, at least one deck a month, and really deep dive into that particular deck. What does deep dive mean for me? Probably it's really just to go over the guidebook, really read the meanings, take notes, get to know the cards for that particular deck, and get to know it. So this month, I have chosen the Tarot of Vampyres by Ian Daniels. So why this particular deck? Well, first of all, it's October, it's spooky season. The theme felt, I guess, apt. This is the sides, this is the box. It's a Llewellyn deck. It's spooky season. I feel that this would be a good theme to start with. I love vampires. Well, at least I used to. I read a lot of Anne Rice, and I love vampires, I guess, until Twilight kind of destroyed it. Anyway, I chose this deck because of this book. Primarily because of this book. It's called Phantasmagoria by Ian Daniels. And look how thick it is. And how much information it contains. It is actually one of the tarot guidebooks, that is consistently being mentioned as one of the best tarot guidebooks that you can get with a deck. So of course, me with my love of guidebooks, and now that I have this particular commitment to deep dive into a deck, I felt that this would be a good candidate for my first deep dive. So this is what the table of contents looks like. So you have part 1, some introductions about the cards, spreads, and some personal card portraits. Let's look at that later. And then you have around 60 pages of introduction before you get into the cards. And the major arcana starts at page 61, and you go all the way up to 151 before you even start with the minor arcana. So it has a lot of information. So here's the introduction piece. Tarot of Vampyres. About the cards. You have here your correspondences. The suits. Oh, so it looks like they also renamed the suits. So the scepters are associated with the will and the element of fire. So this is the one suit. Then the grails are the cups. So emotions, feelings, relationships, the unconscious. Knives are, of course, the swords. Mental activity, intellect, rational thinking. And then skulls would be associated with matter. So this would be the pentacles suit. And they also mention here that the major arcana can be associated with the fifth element, spirit. So suit cards. Again, a lot of correspondences. Use Kabbalah and Tarot. But yeah, it looks like a lot of information to get into. I might have bitten off more than I can chew. Okay, you have here some card spreads and exercises. Some reading tips and guidelines. And then you have here your spreads. Elemental cross, the prophecy, forbidden fruit. So there's also a lot of spreads, and you also have exercises, which is good. Oh my gosh, there's a lot to get into this book. Here, the personal card portraits. So, oh, okay. So I think it's also like an exercise of having your personal journey in Phantasmagoria. So journaling, Vampire Clan. Okay. Okay, so it's also like gamifying this how to learn tarot, which is nice. Yeah, okay, so that's all of the introduction. Then let's look at the cards. So we'll start with the major arcana. So you have here the alchemy, the kindred spirits, the essence, and then you have the message, which takes several pages, two pages here. Then the analysis and the symbolism, which is another 2 pages or so, and the shadow meaning. Yeah, and that is the structure for all of the majors. And then let's take a look at the minors. So for example, for the minors here, oh, it's also the same. You have the alchemy, the kindred spirits, the essence, the message, analysis, and shadow. So even for the minors, it's still about 3 pages per card. 2 to 3 pages. So that goes all the way to the end. So it's a really meaty book. And then I will try to finish and get to know this October. Moving this book to the side, let's take a look at the cards. Okay, so there's a ribbon. Let's put that to the side as well. The cardstock is glossy, very glossy. It is not reversible, but that's okay for me because I don't read reversals. But if you do, then that is a consideration. Not gilded. Cardstock is a bit thin. Well, I think it feels like typical Llewellyn cardstock, which shuffles really well, very usable. So I don't have any problems with the cardstock. Okay. So let's zoom in and take a look at the cards one by one. Okay, so since this is a glossy deck and I have a ring light in front of me, I will try not to lift it up so as not to reflect the light. So the art is very gothic, very much vampire themed, which is nice. There's a sensual energy to it, as is with typical vampire energy. but it doesn't, it's not, at least for me, it's not a scary deck. I wouldn't consider it as a scary deck. I wasn't really too sure if I would like the art. So again, I bought this deck primarily because of Phantasmagoria for the book. But I flipped through this deck once. I flipped through this deck before, and I did really like the art. And I think it's because it's like a classic vampire, you know, Interview with a Vampire, like Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise in the of the Anne Rice novels. It's not anyway, it's not Edward Cullen. Sparkly vampire. And I know I'm not really ranting about Twilight. I actually liked the first book, but the succeeding books are like, oh, I just wanted it to end. But you can't deny the cultural impact that particular book did, and how many other stories it inspired. So yeah, it's very popular. But yeah, I like the imagery, and even though they renamed the suit, it's very easy to grasp. So it's not complete, you know, it's easy to say grails are cups and knives are I was going to say knives are forks. Knives are swords. This looks like Kirsten Dunst in Interview with a Vampire. Yeah, I think getting to know these cards would be a really interesting activity. And I'm looking forward to it. So here we have the sword suit, again my favorite suit, the knife suit for this particular deck. This is interesting. So it's not an I can't speak. It's not an RWS clone. So definitely it has its own depiction of each card, which makes it at least a lot more interesting for me to get to know. As always, feel free to slow down or speed up or pause if you want to take a closer look at the cards. Yeah, I do the flip throughs a bit quickly, but you can just control the playback settings if you want to see it more slowly. Yes. Oh, by the way, in the book, or it's ordered this way to have the Lord, the Queen, and then the Prince, and the Daughter of Skulls, or the daughters. So unlike the typical page, Knight, Queen, King, it's ordered the other way around. Okay, so we'll zoom out and we'll see how this shuffles. But it being a Llewellyn deck, I already know that it will shuffle great. Alright, I zoomed out and let's see if I am right. Yes, very easy to shuffle. Oops. Nice even mix. It doesn't stick, it doesn't clump. You can do side shuffling easily as well. Okay, so maybe let's see if we can... Well, we're not reading all of those cards. Okay, Okay, one more time. Let's see if we'll get a card to jump out. Okay, that works. We will be reading for the Prince of Grails. Okay, so it's not focused. Okay, so we will be reading for the Prince of Grails, and since this is a lengthy book or a lengthy entry, I will just show you the book and you can pause and read, because I really want you to have an idea of how much information you can get from this book. Okay. Right, so this is for the Prince of Grails. Okay, so let me just read the message. These are first few sentences, but just so you have an idea. So for the essence, you will have the keywords, and the shadow also some keywords, and then the message and quality you have. It says here, the Prince of Grails is secretive and esoteric in nature, profound in his feelings, and presenting a calm demeanor. His sensual charm and poetic intensity give him a dignified air of splendor. Beneath the surface of this elegance simmers an impassioned decadence and sexual potency. He is shrewd, cunning, and artful, with an ingenious and intrinsic perception. Because of his enigmatic nature, he can enchant and entice with potent effect. He is the chimera, who is a master of illusion and fantasy. So it goes on to describe the Prince of Grails, and then at the end it says here, spiritually, the Prince of Grails stands for the balance between the active ego and inactive unconscious aspects of our emotions. We express ourselves creatively using our willpower to face the challenges in life, while keeping in tune with the unconscious realm of the unfathomable without sinking into trap of illusion. This equilibrium allows the authority of the ego to be guided unconsciously by our higher self. So I guess that's how you would interpret this card if it comes. Oh, sorry, I think I knocked the camera. How you would interpret the card if it comes up in a reading. To be quite frank, or to be honest, I still have a little bit of difficulty whenever a court card shows up in my reading, because it's not always a representation of a person that you know. Could be the characteristics of that particular person, or like a spiritual meaning of that particular card. Yeah. So definitely I still have a lot to learn, and I am looking forward to it. So this has been this has been the Tarot of Vampyres. Very, very interesting deck. It's not okay. Very interesting deck. Yeah, I'm really liking the art. It's perfect for this season, and a lot of information in the book. Again, really excited about this. I really need to commit to, I guess, a specific time to study the deck, because otherwise, as with all things, if you know something already, maybe a high level knowledge about it, sometimes you get lazy to go in depth. But I've been learning tarot for a year, and I think it's time to start deep diving into a particular deck, and we'll see how that goes, if it improves my learning, if it helps me learn the cards more. But yeah, for October, for my 1-year tarot anniversary, I will be doing a deep dive into the Tarot of Vampyres. Anyway, if you like this video, please don't forget to click the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. I would really appreciate it. I post tarot related content at least once a week, and I will see you again next time. Bye!